Stanley. Enemies of the Heart. Devotional Day 4. Watching out for greed. Scripture. Luke 12:13-21. The third enemy of the heart? Greed. It's when we feel that we deserve more and more worldly wealth and goods. Greed says, I owe me. Jesus said, watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Why? Because of the 4 heart conditions we're considering, greed is the most subtle of all. Greed can take up residence in the heart and live there for years undetected. The unguarded heart is highly susceptible to this debilitating disease. It's difficult to diagnose, especially to self-diagnose. Jesus went on to uncover the lie that fuels all greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. But doesn't everybody know that? Do people really believe that their lives are equivalent to what they own? The answer is no and yes. No, not everybody knows that. And yes, there are people who believe that your life is pretty much the sum total of what you own. And many of us today are more prone to this belief than we might imagine. After telling a parable, Jesus gave his definition of a greedy person: someone who stores up things for himself or herself but isn't rich toward God. Being rich toward God is Jesus' talk for being generous toward those in need. A greedy person is the man or woman who saves carefully but gives sparingly. Generous giving will break the grip of greed on your life. So whether or not you think you have extra, give and give generously. You've got to give to the point that it forces you to adjust your lifestyle. If you're not willing to give to the point that it impacts your lifestyle, then according to Jesus, you're greedy. If you're consuming to the point of having little or nothing left to give, you're greedy. If you're consuming and saving to the point that there's little or nothing left to give, you're greedy. I know that's strong. Actually, it's harsh. But it's true. Break the power of greed through the habit of generous giving. It's a habit that changes everything. Assess your generosity and giving over the last 12 months. What does your charitable giving say about your heart? Pray about what it would look like for you to launch into a new level of generosity in the next 12 months.
Then someone called from the crowd,
Teacher, please tell my brother to divide our father's estate with me.
Jesus replied, Friend, who made me a judge over you to decide such things as that? Then he said, Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own. Then he told them a story. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. He said to himself, What should I do? I don't have room for all my crops. Then he said, I know. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods. And I'll sit back and say to myself, My friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, You fool, you will die this very night. Then who will get everything you worked for? Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God.